up, guys? Welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be doing two looks with the new ColourPop Garden Variety palette. This palette, you guys seem to be a little bit more excited about this palette than you were about our last ColourPop video. The last ColourPop video I filmed was the Wild Nothing palette, which I also have right here. And at the time, the Garden Variety had just released, and so many of you were saying that you were way more excited for Garden Variety because it was kind of like a more colorful version of Wild Nothing, which you know what? Now looking at them right next to each other is pretty much correct. Like, they're a really similar theme, but this one just a little bit more fun, like amped up the fun meter by like 75%. Now, this is still a little bit subdued as far as like full-on colorful palettes are concerned, but I think that we're gonna have a good time today because I have already been having a good time and I only just started filming the looks portion of this video. I also picked up one of the Jelly Much shadows that got released with this collection. I kind of wanted to give this formula another try because I tried these when they first came out ages ago and I didn't really like the formula very much. But I wanted to try them again today because this looked really pretty, and also I feel like maybe if I use them in a different way than I had initially used them, that maybe I would like it again. I don't know. You know, like sometimes you just got to give things another try, and today we're doing that. I feel like I'm doing several ColourPop videos all in a row, like one a week at this point almost. Actually, I don't know, maybe that was 2 weeks ago. I have no concept of time anymore. Anybody else in a place in their life where they have no idea when it is anymore? Because I sure don't. Yeah, I don't know, there's been a lot of ColourPop launches and it's been giving me content ideas, and so we're doing a lot of ColourPop stuff all in a row, and I hope you guys don't mind because we're doing it anyway because I already bought it. So here we are. Before we get into it, please don't forget to leave a like on this video if you don't mind taking a second, because it's so helpful to me and I really appreciate it. If you're new around here, go ahead and subscribe because I would love to have you around for all of the fun videos. I mean, if you like ColourPop, you're going to be pretty pleased this next week or two. As always, I'll timestamp each look down below if you want to jump to one to like recreate it, and I'll also list all of the products that I use on my whole face in the description for your convenience. I'm actually pretty pumped with the way this first look turned out. So without delaying you any further, let's get into look number one with this ColourPop Garden Variety palette. I'm starting with lipstick on today. I don't normally do that. I usually just have like a lip mask or a balm or something on when I start filming. But I bought myself this Gucci lipstick the other day because I saw one of my faves wearing it and I just thought it looked so damn good that I couldn't resist. And so even though it was very overpriced, I wound up buying it and I quite like it, and I just kind of wanted to sit around and wear it in my house today. This is what the Garden Variety palette looks like on the inside. It is far more colorful than the Wild Nothing palette that we worked with last, but it's still a little bit on the more subdued side. So my plan is to sort of almost recreate a similar thing to what I did with one of the Wild Nothing looks, but like an amped up, more colorful, fun version. I also picked up one of the Jelly Much shadows in this collection, and the color I got is called Sage Bundle. It's sort of like a champagne with a little bit of like a green shift, or almost like a, yeah, I would say it's minty. It almost looks blue in some lights, but it's really mint green. But I wanted to give it another shot because you know what? Sometimes we change our minds. We grow, we change. We're evolving creatures all the time. So, you know what? I'm gonna fucking try it again today. Why not? I'm gonna start in the crease with my BH number 6, the way I do pretty much every damn time we start one of these videos. I'm gonna start with the color Prickly Please and just start working that right through my crease area. I'm gonna grab my BH number 7 brush and I'm gonna go into the shade Stuck on You, which is a matte purpley magenta, and I'm gonna use that through the crease area, keeping it a little bit higher up than my natural crease and flicking that out into a wing shape at the end. I'm also gonna take a little bit on that same brush and just bring it down to meet the outer corner of the lashes, just complete that wing shape. Bringing that up at the same angle I would with winged eyeliner, just extending from the lower lash line right up toward my brow. That way it kind of gives the eye a nice flattering lift. I'm gonna take my Sigma E36 brush and I'm gonna go back into a little bit of Stuck on You, and I'm actually gonna fill in the outer corner with a little bit of that shade, blending it toward the center just because I feel like I'm gonna darken up this outer corner anyway, so I might as well just kind of work that color in there while I'm here. Sort of leaving the actual natural lid shape open and then filling in the wing. You see what I'm doing there? On that same brush, I'm gonna go into a little bit of this dark brown shade Root 'em Up, and I'm gonna use that to just deepen the crease a touch further, Only like a little tiny bit though, because I really don't want that brown to take over the purple. I just wanted to darken it. I'm gonna grab my Urban Decay Stay Naked Concealer. Sometimes when I do a cut crease, I use the white version of this, but today, because I kind of wanted to almost be like a negative space effect, I'm gonna use just the lighter version of my concealer shade. I'm gonna grab my NABLA Cut Crease Maker brush, and I'm gonna cut the inside corner and then blend it out into that shape we did on the outer corner. So I'm not gonna cut all the way into that shape because I'm gonna soften it out, but I'm gonna start here and then blend as we get there. So for the outer corner, I'm just gonna take my finger and tap over the end of that concealer. So then when I get back out there and start blending that outer corner the way it needs to be blended, or subsequently cutting it if I decide that's what I wanna do, I don't have a hard time with a hard line of concealer. Now that I have that shape done, I'm gonna grab a pencil brush. I'm gonna go into this shimmer called Smudge Off. And I'm gonna place that right at the end of the lid, right where the dark purple begins to form that little bit of a wing shape. Kind of ease our way into the cut crease here. Continuing this same theme, I'm gonna take that same pencil brush and go into a little bit of Synergy, which is also a purplish shade, but a little bit lighter, also a shimmer. I'm just gonna tap that right around the end of where we put down Smudge Off. I'm gonna take my Sigma E36 again with that dark purple shade on it, and I'm going to just continue making sure that that's solid and blended on the outer corner. And then on a MAC 242 brush, I'm gonna go into that Jelly Much shadow in the color Sage Bundle that I also picked up with this collection. I'm gonna pack that onto this flat brush. I'm gonna pack that onto this flat round brush. I'm gonna push it onto the back of my hand first to make sure that I have an even coat of that eyeshadow on the brush. Then I'm just gonna paint it over the entire area where I put down that concealer, and oh my lord, I like that so much better than any other time I've used these Jelly Much shadows. That looks phenomenal. Maybe I was just kind of going about this all the wrong way the whole time. Could that be? All right, my ass is a little bit floored by how much I like that shadow. Interesting. Interesting indeed. I concealed and powdered under my eyes. I'm gonna go through the waterline with a nude pencil. This is the Mr. Right pencil in the color SEYMOUR Date Nights from THEBALM. I don't generally use this one, but I think it's the only nude pencil I have laying around right now because I went through a whole Benefit Roller Eye Bright, and I don't think I have another one of those, so we're using this today. It's a little bit more of like a whitish nude, but it'll be fine. I'm gonna pick up my BH number 7 again and go back into the shade, the original peachy shade we used, Prickly Please, and I'm gonna use that underneath the lower lash line, bringing it down nice and low because I'm gonna blend those colors out into that shade just like we did on the top, just giving myself a little something, a little variation of color in the blend, you know? Then I'm gonna grab my Sigma E36 again, go back into the matte shade Stuck on You, and blend that underneath the lower lashes and bring it right up into the wing shape we created on the top. And I was gonna use one of the shades from the palette to highlight the inner corner on the bottom, but because I'm so pleased with the way this Jelly Much shadow looks, I'm actually gonna grab a little bit of that on a Luxie 111 mini, and I'm just gonna pop it on the inner corner and bring it a little bit underneath the lower lashes as well. I finished up the eyes with the House of Lashes Aquamarine lashes. I just finished up my skin with a little bit of highlight and blush, and I filled in my moles. All of the stuff I used for that will be listed in the description down below. And I think for the lip, I'm gonna go with the lipstick that I was wearing at the beginning of this video, except that I'm going to just like apply it properly. Since I bought this on a whim anyway, might as well wear it in this look. I think it's gonna actually pair very well. So this is the Gucci lipstick in the color Peggy Taupe. It is, the formula of these remind me quite a bit of the MAC Powder Kiss Bullets, which I really like. Probably could have duped it out from my own collection now that I'm thinking about it, and that makes me feel dumb as fuck. But I'm gonna put it on my lips anyway because I already have it and I already wore it and I can't return it, and here we are. And this is the first look. So for look 2, I want to do a more rounded look, and I want to dip in and dive in and get in there with the more reddish tones in here rather than the purple ones, and also this little pop of green. I feel like combining those, we're gonna get like a little bit more of a fall feel, and I'm gonna be really real with you right now. I am so ready for fall. I've been ready for fall since July. Here where I live, it's already like getting cooler out, so I can really justify these feelings right now. However, I cannot get behind the early release of like the pumpkin spice lattes and stuff at Starbucks. Now, I don't like pumpkin spice lattes anyway, but if I did, you wouldn't catch me ordering one right now. I'm gonna take my BH number 6 and I'm gonna go into the shade Over the Bloom, and I'm gonna start by working that into the crease. This shade does have a little bit of glitter, but if we use it this way with the brush, probably won't see much of the glitter on the lid and it'll behave more like a matte. I'm gonna bring that through the whole crease, making sure I bring it up nice and high, especially in the center, and then just looping it around at the edge with like a circular motion right down to the corner of the eye so we get that nice round shape. Also, just making sure I bring this shade up past my eye vein. On my BH number 7, I'm going to go into the shade Succa for You. It's spelled S-U-C-C-A, like a succulent, because like succulents, there's succulents everywhere. By the way, I have a million succulents, and I have killed them all, just in case you were wondering. This shade is also a matte with glitter. Going to use it the same way I used the one in the crease, though. So I'm going to start by putting it on the outer corner of the eye, bringing it through the crease, and then just dabbing some of it on the inner corner as well. When these more matte with a hint of glitter sort of shades started coming out and becoming more popular, I didn't really think I liked them too much at first. By the way, I'm bringing this up past my natural crease so we can cut the center and create like a little bit of a faux crease there. I didn't really think I liked them that much, but now I feel like they're really versatile because you really can use them as if they're a matte, but also get that glitter texture if you just apply them differently, and like, who doesn't love that? We love versatility. I know we're not done here, but the color combo I have in mind, if it comes out the way I want it to, I actually feel like it reminds me of a succulent, you know? I'm gonna grab my NABLA Cut Crease Maker brush again, and this time I am going to use my white concealer, and I'm just gonna use that to make a little spotlight cut in the center of each lid, popping some of the concealer on the back of my hand, and then I'm gonna pick it up on the brush and just cut it with my eye open so we can see where it lines up and shit. Just to amplify the lighter colors, similarly to how you would use like a dark base to amplify a dark color. It seems so self-explanatory now that I say it out loud. I'm gonna tap over the edges of that with my finger just to soften it. And I'm gonna go into the edges that are right in the crease with a pencil brush and soften those with that just for a little bit more precision. I'm gonna grab my MAC 242 brush, and I'm gonna go into the metallic green shade Best Buds. I'm gonna use that right in the center of where we put down that white concealer. Just tapping it straight down to the lash line. Next to that, I'm gonna grab the same brush and I'm gonna go into the shade Third Eye, which is kind of like a gold, and I'm gonna use that to bridge the gap between the other shades and that green, just make it easier to blend those together because green is quite far from the burgundy kind of plum shade we used, and it'll just kind of help that not get muddy. And on a pencil brush, I'm gonna go into the shade Clay Day, which is kind of like a brickish mauve shade, and I think that'll be a good midway between that gold and the darker shades that we put on the outer corners. That looks pretty much as succulent-y as I could have hoped for. All right, I concealed underneath my eyes, I put some powder, and it's time to work on the lower lash line, and you know what? I fucking love this color combination. I love it. I feel like a succulent. I feel like I have redeemed myself for all of the succulents that I've killed over the years, which is all of them. I'm gonna grab the Urban Decay pencil in the color Freak, and I'm going to use that through my waterline. This is going to be our little pop of green that matches the green in the center of the eye for the bottom half, because for the bottom half, I don't plan on recreating this spotlight, and this is literally almost exactly the same kind of green that we have on the lid, and it worked out really, really well. I love the combination of these colors so very, very much that I'm going to find a way to blend all of them on my lower lash line. And I know that it's going to be a little bit difficult, and maybe I should like cut one of them out, but you know what? I'm not going to. So I'm going to grab this MAC 221. I'm going to go into Over the Bloom again. I'm going to start blending that out on the lower half, and I'm bringing it down nice and low, nice and round, to make sure that I have room to get all of those shades in there the way I want to. It's always funny to me, like I feel like when I look in the mirror, I'm bringing this color down obnoxiously low. And I feel that way when I do any look like this, but then on camera, it doesn't look that crazy. So I'm just going with the camera version. Okay, I'm gonna grab my pencil brush again and back into the shade Clay Day. I'm gonna use that a little bit closer to the lashes. Start to create that gradient. I'm gonna grab this little MAC 228 brush. I'm gonna go back into SUCC for You, which I made a mess of all over the outside of this palette. Ugh, whatever. And I'm gonna use that closer to the lashes. To finish off this eye look, I'm gonna grab a pencil brush, and you could do this with one of the shades from the palette, but because I have it, I'm gonna go back into that Jelly Much shadow in the shade Sage Bundle. I can't like not lisp when I say that for some reason. Sage Bundle. I'm gonna pick a little bit of that shade up, just like a tiny, tiny bit on a pencil brush, and I'm just gonna pop it on the inner corner as a highlight. Again, you could totally just do the same thing with one of the like champagne shades in this, but I thought it'd be a nice touch. Just trying to bring a little bit of light to that inner corner, make us look a little bit more awake than we really are. So fucking sometimes, man, we need it. All right, I finished up my skin. I put on House of Lashes Siren Double, and I want to complement the color scheme of the eye without detracting from the color combination because I'm obsessed with how these colors look together. So I'm gonna grab my Haus Laboratories Rip Lip Liner in the color Myth. I'm gonna use this to define my lip line and then blend it toward the center. And then I'm gonna fill the center with the Shine Theory gloss from NABLA in the shade Syrup. I just realized right now that my energy drink was sitting right next to my microphone, and if you guys have to listen to like the bubbling of my drink next to the microphone all day, I'm gonna just jump out a window. And this is the second look. If you had asked me my thoughts on this palette right after I finished look number 1, I would have told you that it's just okay. But if you asked me my thoughts on this palette now, which you are just by default because you're here for the review portion of my video, I really like this palette a lot, actually. The combination of the more reddish tones with the metallic green, the purples that are in there, really, once I started to play with them with the idea of a succulent in my mind, I felt like the way those come together is just so well thought out. And I think that the combination is a good like bridge from summer to fall, you know, because it's kind of like, this can like give you a little bit of a fall vibe, but it's still colorful enough for the hot weather. And it's just like really where my head's at right now. I also think that as far as the quality on this is concerned, this is more what I am used to from ColourPop than Wild Nothing. As I mentioned in my Wild Nothing video, I felt like some of the shades were a little patchy in there, specifically the one dark brown shade. I did notice there is a lot of kick up in the actual pans, but for me, that's not something that really bothers me. I absolutely make a mess of all of my palettes anyway. It's so hard as a YouTube creator who does new looks with new palettes all the time to say how much use I'll get out of a palette, because a lot of times I don't even do my makeup unless I'm doing it for a video at this point. So I don't know how much use I would really get out of this, but I definitely feel like I could see myself leaving this palette on my desk because these types of colors are something that would work for me often enough and give me a bit of like color and interest in my life, but also not be so over the top that I feel like they'll clash with an outfit or something. Just like easy day to day, but with like a little bit of color, you know? And as far as the second chance for the Jelly Much shadow formula, I actually really liked using that, especially in the first look. I liked the way it worked as a cut crease color, so I feel like I do need to revisit those in general, but I will say that it does not redeem itself from the fact that the ones that I bought originally, even though I kept them sealed properly, dried up really quickly, which I do not like. Not a fan of that. Leave me a comment down below. Let me know if you picked this collection up. If you like the Jelly Much shadows, would love to know what your thoughts are on that. Did you pick this one up? Did you get Wild Nothing? Which one do you like better? Do you have both? Just leave me a comment. I would love to hear your thoughts on the matter. If you're new around here, please feel free to subscribe because I would love to have you around for more videos. And to keep up with me between videos, go ahead and follow me on Instagram. I'm at Miss Quinface over there. I keep my stories updated quite often and I would love to have you. We talk in the DMs. I post things about this channel. I post behind the scenes. Post a little bit more of my day-to-day life if you're interested in getting to know me a little bit more. And yeah, it's just really a good time and I would love to have you. That's all for today. Thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you for hanging out and talking about makeup with me, and I will see you in the next one.